Trojan horse may have been allowed into Europe. A ready-made militia of people who hate the West, who hate our culture, have been radicalised, and they're primed and ready to go. In the last few days alone, since it's kicked off between Hamas and Israel, we've seen a teacher stabbed to death in France by a bloke on a terror watch list. We've seen a jihadi gunman rampaging through Brussels on a moped, shooting people at will. Synagogues have been firebombed in Germany, reportedly. 6 French airports have been closed due to bomb threats. People are pouring red paint over Jewish schools in Britain. And people are being told to remain vigilant when they go to gatherings, like watching England play football at Wembley. Why should we have to live like this? How was this allowed to happen? It's an utter disgrace. The radical Islamist threat was allowed to wander into Europe. In fact, it was welcomed in with open arms by a handful of politicians who were almost always going against the will of the majority of their own population. Decisions were made by a handful of politicians that have led and will lead to the irreversible negative impact of an entire continent and the lives of hundreds of millions of people who live in it. Let's just take the Brussels jihadi as an example. So this is reportedly a Tunisian man with a radicalised background who pledged allegiance to Islamic State and waged an act of terror on the streets of Belgium because, it appears, he was angry about people in Sweden, a non-Muslim country, burning the Quran. Right. How has stuff like this become our problem? Well, why is this anything to do with us? Well, why are our lives in danger because of ideologies like that? And how many other people like him are there out there? I will never accept that dealing with severe terror threats, having to remain constantly vigilant on our streets, or seeing bomb threats, actual firebombs, stabbings and shootings, supposedly in the name of a radical extremist interpretation of a religion that appears to be completely at odds with Europe's way of life, is normal. It's not normal. It has never been normal, and it must never be allowed to become normal.